In this video, we have got a 100 plus kill game on Empire State Conquest, coming in the top 3 players in the game for score, with the M123K LMG. Of course, using the support class, as you can see here on screen, and in terms of the attachments which I was using, it is on screen now. But I will say, these are not the final attachments. I'm still in progress of leveling the gun up. This is simply what was used in this video, and I do not therefore recommend to absolutely copy and use these. There will be a better build which will come in a future video. So for this video, we're going to start off now talking about this gun, its pros and its cons, and and how I'm best using it. And then we'll talk about the map Empire State, specifically on Conquest, and what I'm doing to sort of obviously reach this high kill game of 100 kills, but also to try and do well for the team, in and around the different flags and different capture points. So let's start off with the pros and cons of the M123K, as this will help better explain or basically understand why and how you are supposed to use this gun. So the M123K, in terms of its pros, it's got an 830 rate of fire, so one of the fastest rate of fires in the game, which is obviously very fun on an LMG. It's got a clean sight, obviously in this choice of sight here, with the red dot, which is perfect for close to medium range. You don't want anything longer than that due to its recoil, which I'll come on to in a second. It comes in with a very fast time to kill, thanks to having a high damage per bullet before any drop off of 25. So of course, that 25 damage paired with the high rate of fire makes for a very fast time to kill. And of course, you've got 100 rounds per magazine, which in comparison to other LMGs is not going to be significant. If anything, it's going to be average, and you can upgrade it to 200 rounds for the cost of around 40 to 50 points. But it is higher than most of the other guns in the game, not in its class, so you can sort of single it out as an outstanding pro. And lastly, in terms of the pros, and as you'll see throughout many of the clips in this game, even here as an example, the hipfire is actually quite accurate, of course at almost point blank range, but the hipfire is quite accurate to the point where I'm able to actually hit a good number of bullets on target, or even get a kill by shooting while I'm aiming in, which is a massive benefit, because one of the drawbacks, or one of the cons, if we get into the cons, is going to be a very slow ADS time. Now, the fact that the hipfire is very good on these now much smaller maps than we are traditionally used to, you're going to get caught out a lot in close range, and hipfire is therefore going to be important on an LMG with a slow ADS, because if the hipfire was bad, you pretty much would not be able to get any kills or do any damage until you ADS, by which point, most of the time, you're already going to be dead against all of the other very fast time to kill weapons that are in this game. So the hipfire is a massive positive, and I reckon putting a laser sight to make it even slightly more accurate for hipfire will be a massive upgrade on this gun, and makes it usable in close quarters, again, as you'll see in some of the clips in this gameplay. Moving on to the cons of the gun, of which there are quite a few. As I just mentioned, the slow ADS time, which in this current build has a score of 433, is quite slow. But as I said, that hipfire accuracy does manage to counter that quite a bit. But overall, it is considered quite slow compared to a lot of the other guns in the game. The reload time, as you can see here, whether on an empty mag or partially finished mag, tactical reload, whatever you want to call it, is also very slow. So make sure you can find a corner to jump into, in and out of cover while you are reloading. And lastly, in terms of the main or biggest cons of this gun, is going to be the recoil. Now, the recoil is an issue mainly because there is a lot of horizontal recoil. Horizontal recoil is not something which is controllable. Vertical is, because you can pull down against it with your thumbstick, or obviously on mouse and keyboard, pull down with a mouse. But it has a lot of horizontal recoil, which bounces side to side, and the longer the distance you use it, or the longer the target is away, the more that horizontal recoil bounces side to side, basically to the sides of the target which you are aiming at, which makes it very difficult to hit consistent shots and therefore get kills fast. And this is even difficult, again, as you'll see in many of the clips in this gameplay, at medium range. Medium range, you want to tap fire, but it's not very accurate in tap fire. and so it's only really usable in close range. And this therefore brings me on to how you should therefore play with this gun. So, to do well with this gun, considering the pros and cons, overall you can pretty much tell that you need to be in close range to be able to do well with the gun because of its high recoil. But at the same time, you can't just run around, run and gun and rush with it because of its very slow ADS time and slow reload time. Therefore, to be able to get within close range and to do the best you can with this gun, you need to hold advantageous power positions that are in and around the different flags on the map, therefore being able to defend the flags from enemies capturing them, or even, of course, to stop enemies from spawning on there and getting off there, which will allow your team to then, push in and capture the flag. Where I am right now is a perfect example of this, with the enemy spawn being out on the right there, as well as being able to overlook onto the main middle part of the map, the main power position, the area of the map with the highest amount of footfall of enemies which are going to go through there throughout the course of the game. And as I just said, overlooking the main flag, therefore being able to defend it or prevent enemies from spawning on there, and of course pushing to different areas of the map, and ultimately allowing my team to push in and capture the flag. Now, my final thoughts with regards to this gun, or LMGs in general, are around suppressors. Now, for those of you who have watched previous videos on the channel, will know I'm a massive advocate for suppressors, and that it's a massive, it's almost unplayable to not use a suppressor because the maps are now so much smaller than we're traditionally used to, and we still have 32 versus 32. And you probably find it yourself, you're getting shot by a whole squad from 4 different angles almost all the time within 5 seconds of spawning. And as soon as you fire with an unsuppressed weapon, within 5 seconds, you've got someone on your position who's ran directly to where you are and is going to kill you. The suppressors therefore allow you to maintain that element of surprise and be able to fire as many bullets as you want before multiple enemies can actually locate to you and rush to you. But when it comes to the LMGs, and as I keep saying, as you see in these clips, I'm getting clips where there are 4, 5, 6 kills in a row in quick succession because I've got 100 rounds and because I'm unsuppressed. So as soon as I start firing, you've got multiple enemies rushing to the red dot on the map. If I'm already, like I am now, in the position that I want to be able to defend with this slow gun, in terms of its mobility, I can pretty much stay aimed in at a certain doorway, or area of the map with confidence that multiple enemies, because I'm firing unsuppressed, are going to pop up, over and over again until I run out of ammo or until I die. If I was to have put a suppressor on in this game, I probably wouldn't have hit the 100 kill game because most of the enemies wouldn't have rushed to my position. So the advantageous thing here, if I can get my words out right, is that without the suppressor and the 100 rounds, you're able to take out multiple enemies in quick succession without worrying about dying while reloading. Or at least you can die in happiness once you run out of ammo because you've already got more kills with that 100 rounds, that one magazine, than you will have got, with an SMG with only 30 rounds, and therefore died while reloading. Okay, so there's a few minutes left now of this video, and the final thing to talk about is what I'm doing in this game, on this map, on this mode in particular, to do as well as I have. And obviously part of that you probably have already got an idea of from how I've said to use this gun. But in general, how can you play on this map to do well, no matter what class you're using, no matter what gun you're using? The first thing is that, high positions or elevation is going to be key. There is elevation in this map, in the buildings, in the middle of the map, overlooking C. And of course, you can only capture C from on the ground floor or on the bridge, of which the bridge is pretty much going to be destroyed the majority of the time. So therefore, you can count on enemies pretty much always being on the ground floor to capture C flag. The elevation which you can get in Empire State is going to help you massively. Firstly, because, of course, enemies are going to run around aiming at chest height. So anyone on a lower level than you are is not directly going to run around a corner and be looking exactly at you. They'll have to look up and also take the extra time to aim upwards to be able to shoot at you and, to kill you. And secondly, elevation allows you to overlook the majority of the map from one specific point. You can look over the top of most, points of cover, so that if you do start shooting at an enemy, and you'll see this will happen when you use snipers mainly, when you hit someone with a sniper or a few shots, they might dive behind cover, of which you can still see them in your elevated position because you can see over those points of cover. So it can also help massively there to be able to get more kills. Lastly, in terms of the power positions where you're going to want to stay, as well as the places which you're going to want to avoid, in terms of the power positions, C flag in the center of the map is going to be the most populated area. Staying either side of the bridge here, depending on which side of the map the enemies are on, is going to be the best places to stay. And of course, you can pretty much see most of the other flags and spawns around it, such as the spawn to my left or behind me here, as well as looking out from the bridge and the windows towards A and D, where the other spawn is going to be. In terms of where you do not want to go, I would say that it's going to be A flag. It's way out, the furthest flag out onto the side of the map, where pretty much no one over there will run and go, unless you're going there to capture the flag once the enemies have got it. But that flag there, A flag, is right next to the spawn over there. So it's almost pointless to run and go over there to capture it, because by the time you run back to the center of the map to get back in the action, another enemy is going to have spawned there and is going to capture it. I think the possible best outcome with regards to A flag is to allow the enemy team, if the enemy team is spawning there in the game you're playing, allow them to have A flag so they can use it as a spawn point and therefore give you better predictability over where the enemies are going to be spawning and coming from, which will actually allow you to better hold and maintain dominance, if I can get the words right, over the center of the map, because you know where the enemies are coming from and you can stop them from flowing into the center of the map and not coming from loads of different random positions. So that is the video. If you have watched this far and you did enjoy or found anything useful, then please do smash like for me to help push it out to other people. If you are new around here, then please do consider subscribing. There's going to be plenty more Battlefield 6 content just like this, where I'm going to try and get as many 100 kill games as I like to do with the different guns that are in Battlefield 6. And yeah, I will see you on the next one.